There is a moment in life when you realize the greatest enemy you face is not the world outside but the voice inside. The voice that says wait. The voice that says later. The voice that quietly steals your dreams while pretending to protect you. But imagine if you could silence that voice and unlock a power so strong that every goal you ever wanted becomes something you can reach. This story is about learning to take command of your own mind. Because once you do that, everything becomes possible. Part 1. The power of forcing yourself. Ethan sat in his car staring at the gym doors. The sky was still dark and morning frost covered the windows. His alarm had dragged him out of bed 40 minutes earlier, but his body still begged to go home. Just 5 more minutes of sleep, it whispered. You can try again tomorrow. He squeezed the steering wheel. The parking lot was almost empty. Only the dedicated ones were here this early. He wondered how they did it. Did they wake up bursting with motivation every single day? Did they feel excited to get up before sunrise? He assumed they must. Because he definitely did not. Then he remembered something his grandfather once told him. Successful people are not stronger than you. They are not smarter than you. They are simply better at doing the things they do not want to do. Ethan pushed open the car door. His body complained with every step, but he moved anyway. And as soon as he entered the gym, a strange power came alive inside him. Not excitement. Not motivation. Momentum. He realized something important. The hardest part had been leaving the car. The moment he forced himself through the discomfort, everything started to feel possible again. Most people wait for motivation. They wait for the right mood or the right burst of energy. They wait for a day when everything feels easy. But that day almost never comes. Motivation is unreliable. It arrives when it wants and disappears when you need it the most. If your actions depend on motivation, you will live a life full of starts and stops. Napoleon Hill wrote that people who succeed do not wait for emotion to decide their future. They act first. They move forward not because they feel ready but because they desire results. They understand that every dream demands effort before reward. Every breakthrough comes after resistance. Ethan had spent years doing what most people do. He waited to feel inspired. He planned goals over and over again. He promised himself he would start soon. But soon never arrived. His dreams always stayed in tomorrow. What changed this morning had nothing to do with motivation. It was a decision. A small but powerful choice. Move anyway. In that moment, Ethan learned that discipline is not a special talent. It is a skill. A skill built by small victories. Each time you take action when your mind is begging you to stop, you become stronger. You prove to yourself that you are the one in control. Not your fear. Not your laziness. Not your excuses. Think about it. Every great athlete, every successful business leader, every creator who changed the world has faced the same resistance you feel. They woke up tired. They felt doubt. They wanted comfort. But they stepped forward anyway. And each step built a force inside them that no longer relied on emotion. They developed mastery. They built a habit of movement. Ethan's coach noticed him struggling on the treadmill and walked over. He smiled and said something Ethan would never forget. The world does not reward ideas. The world rewards action. You can dream big all your life. But unless you move, nothing will change. That sentence hit Ethan like a spark to a dry field. He had spent so long waiting for the perfect time. He told himself over and over again that he would start when he felt ready. But that feeling was a trap. Comfort disguises itself as care. It tells you that rest is the right choice when it is really just stealing your potential. Discipline felt uncomfortable in the beginning. But the more Ethan pushed through the discomfort, the more he began to crave progress. He realized something powerful. Discipline is not punishment. It is freedom. Freedom from guilt. Freedom from hesitation. Freedom from regret. Every morning he forced himself to rise. Some mornings were easier. Others felt impossible. But he did not negotiate with his feelings anymore. He had learned the secret. The body says no because it wants easy. The mind says yes because it wants growth. And if you choose the mind often enough, the body begins to follow. The world is full of people with talent. Full of people who talk about what they want. But very few take the first uncomfortable step. That is what separates dreamers from doers. Greatness is not built on sudden bursts of motivation. It is built on daily effort. Repeated consistency. Silent battles won when no one is watching. One morning Ethan looked into the mirror and saw something new in his eyes. Confidence. Not because he had reached his goal yet, but because he knew he would. He had learned that the power to move exists inside him even on the days when it feels hard. Especially on those days. Because those are the days strength is built. When you act despite discomfort, you create momentum. When you honor your promises to yourself, you build belief. And when you show up every day, even in small ways, you become unstoppable. So stop waiting. The perfect moment will never appear. The voice inside that tells you to delay will never vanish. But you can become stronger than that voice. You can choose to move. Even if it is just one step today. One small win. One moment of power over weakness. That is how champions are made. That is how destinies are shaped. Not by feelings. By action. Ethan walked out of the gym that morning with tired legs and a proud heart. For the first time in a long time, he felt in control of his own life. He had learned the greatest lesson of all. You do not need motivation to begin. You only need the courage to take the first step, and once you take that step, everything changes. If this fits your vision, I will continue with part 2, the war between mind and body, next, around 1,000 words in the same style and structure. Would you like me to A. Continue with Ethan as the main character throughout all 6 parts, or B. Introduce a new character and story in each part like an anthology of powerful lessons? Just tell me A or B. Here is part 2. Every morning, a battle begins before your feet even touch the floor. It is a battle that no one sees, yet it decides everything about your future. If you lose it, your dreams shrink. If you win it, your life expands. This is not a fight against the world. It is a fight against the voice inside that wants to keep you small. The question is, which side of that voice will you choose? Part 2. The war between mind and body. The alarm buzzed again. Ethan slapped the button and stared at the ceiling. His bed felt warm. His muscles felt tired. His body begged him to stay right where he was. It promised comfort. It promised relief. Not today, his body whispered. You can skip once. It will not matter. But Ethan had learned something new about that voice. It was a liar. A quiet liar. It sounded gentle, but it was stealing from him. It was taking away the man he wanted to become. He remembered what his grandfather once told him. If you do not command your body, it will command you. And a person who cannot rule himself will always be ruled by life. Ethan pushed himself up. Not fast. Not smooth. But he moved. That first movement was the victory. The rest of the morning became easier because he had won the hardest second of the day. The second when comfort tries to control your future. As he stepped into the cold air outside, he realized something important. The war he was fighting was not a one-time war. It would happen again tomorrow. And the next day. And every day for the rest of his life. Most people lose that war without ever knowing it. They let the body lead. They let impulses decide their actions. They choose ease instead of progress. They think they are relaxing, but in truth they are surrendering. Napoleon Hill wrote that every act of discipline strengthens your willpower. Every time you push yourself when you do not feel like it, you become stronger inside. The mind grows powerful each time it refuses weakness. The voice of laziness becomes quieter every time you ignore it. Ethan started noticing changes. At the beginning, the treadmill felt endless. His legs would burn. His thoughts would scream to stop. But each day the struggle felt less painful. The weight on his chest felt lighter. Something inside him was growing that had nothing to do with muscles. It was self-trust. He noticed that when he acted even while tired, he respected himself more. He looked in the mirror not with pride but with certainty. He was becoming someone he could rely on. Someone who did not hide behind excuses. At work, he felt more focused. His confidence grew because he knew he could make himself do hard things. When a challenge showed up, he did not run from it. He stepped forward. He learned that the feeling of wanting to quit was just a signal that progress was happening. One afternoon, his coach at the gym stopped him. You look different, he said. Ethan laughed and said he did not feel different. But the coach shook his head. No. Not your body. Your eyes. They show you are not fighting yourself anymore. You are leading yourself. Those words mattered more than any compliment about strength or speed. Because that was the real goal. To become the leader of his own life, most people do not fail because they lack skill. They fail because they cannot win the small battles. The war between what they want and what they feel in the moment. Feelings are temporary. Results are permanent. Ethan learned to see struggle as a partner, not an enemy. Resistance meant he was growing. Discomfort meant he was on the right path. He stopped asking if he felt like it. He started saying it must be done. Every morning became a test he was ready to pass. Not because it got easy, but because he grew stronger. The mind became the commander, and the body followed the orders. Napoleon Hill once said that the strongest people are those who have learned to master themselves. They do not need perfect conditions. They do not need excitement or passion every day. They rely on discipline. They know that the reward for effort comes long after the effort itself. Ethan began to feel what real freedom was. Freedom is not doing whatever feels good. Freedom is having control over your choices. Freedom is knowing that weakness no longer drives your actions. There were still moments when quitting sounded sweet, when comfort felt like the smartest choice. But now Ethan recognized that comfort can be dangerous. It steals your goals one soft moment at a time. It takes inches from your dreams until one day you look up and wonder why you never became who you wanted to be. He refused to let that happen. He learned that greatness is not loud. It does not arrive with fireworks or applause. It grows quietly during the early mornings and late nights when no one is watching. It forms through repetition, through patience, through decisions that most people avoid. Ethan began to carry himself differently. His shoulders back, his head higher, his voice firm. Not because he wanted to impress anyone, but because he trusted himself. He knew he could face the war each day and win, and that belief changed everything. The world rewards those who move while others wait. The world follows those who can command themselves. The ones who build the habit of discipline build a life that others call lucky. There was a moment that made everything clear to Ethan. He was finishing his run. His lungs burned. Sweat poured down his forehead. His mind whispered its old message. Stop. You have done enough. But then another voice came. A new voice. A stronger voice. Keep going. You are not done until you decide you are done. That was the mind of a winner speaking. That voice was the voice he wanted to live by. He finished the run. He smiled even through the exhaustion. He realized that every victory did not just change his day. It changed his identity. He was proving something powerful to himself. He could be trusted to do hard things. And when you trust yourself, nothing can stop you. The war continues tomorrow. And Ethan is ready, because winning the war inside is how you win your life. Here is part 3. The art of starting engaging hook. Most people are not beaten by the world. They are beaten by their own delay. They wait for the perfect moment as if perfection will knock on their door one morning. But perfection never comes. And while they wait, life moves on without them. The only way to begin is to begin. Part 3. The art of starting. Ethan stood in front of the gym mirror on a Monday morning. His heart was pounding, and not from exercise. It was the fear again. The fear of looking foolish. The fear of stepping into something he was not good at yet. The fear of what others might think. He watched other people lifting weights with confidence. They looked like they belonged. He felt like an imposter. His mind whispered its favorite excuses. You are not ready. You do not know what you are doing. Wait until you learn more. That voice felt safe. It sounded smart. It promised protection from embarrassment. But Ethan remembered the truth he had learned. That voice was fear pretending to be logic. Napoleon Hill wrote that readiness does not come before action. It comes after. Clarity arrives once you move. Not a moment sooner, Ethan took a breath. He grabbed the lightest weight he could find and started. His hands trembled. His form was not perfect. But he was moving. And that was the victory. Something shifted inside him. He realized that the hardest part was not the lift. It was the decision to lift. Once he started, it already felt easier than the fear had promised. He thought about all the years he had waited to fix his life. All the times he told himself he would start tomorrow. He wondered how much time he had lost because he believed the lie that he needed more time to prepare. He promised himself that he would never wait again for the perfect moment. Because perfect moments do not exist. Action creates them. At work, Ethan saw the same pattern in others. His co-workers dreamed of better jobs, better health, better futures. But every dream was followed by the same words. One day I will start. One day I will chase this goal. One day when things are different. One day never comes by itself. It must be created. Ethan learned to take small steps even when fear tried to stop him. When he wanted to write his first business plan, he did not wait for confidence. He opened his notebook and wrote one sentence. Then another. Soon he had 2 pages filled. And he felt proud. Not because it was perfect, but because he had finally begun. Every small action builds courage. Each step forward creates momentum. Fear loses its power when you move. Ethan noticed something interesting. The more he acted, the braver he became. He no longer needed to feel ready. He only needed to feel willing. And willingness was something he always had control over. He started applying this to everything. He stopped waiting for motivation before going to the gym. He stopped waiting for extra money before learning about investing. He stopped waiting for approval before speaking up in meetings. He realized that most of the things he feared did not deserve the fear he gave them. Once he stepped forward, the fear shrank. It became small. Sometimes it disappeared entirely. Napoleon Hill once wrote that action is the cure for doubt. When you act, your confidence rises. When you hesitate, your fear grows. Ethan kept choosing action. One day he saw a young man in the gym, standing at the door, nervous like he once was, wearing old shoes and holding a cheap water bottle, too shy to enter the weight area. Ethan walked up to him and said the same words he wished someone had told him earlier. You belong here. Start small. But start today. The young man smiled with relief. Ethan felt something spark inside. Purpose. He realized that his journey was not only transforming him, it was inspiring others. Starting is an act of leadership. Ethan looked back at his first day. The day he almost stayed in bed. The day he almost let fear win again. And he felt grateful for the version of himself who stood up despite doubt. There were still many steps ahead of him. Many unknowns. Many challenges. But he knew something now that made him powerful. He did not have to see the entire road. He only had to take the next step. You do not need a full plan. You do not need a guarantee. You only need movement. One small action can change an entire future. Starting before you feel ready is not foolish. It is courageous. It is choosing growth over perfection. Ethan learned that the universe rewards those who begin, not those who wait. His life started improving not because he became the smartest or the strongest, but because he became the one who acts. The difference between the life you have and the life you want is the willingness to start. Ethan practiced this every day. Even on the days he felt unsure. Even when others doubted him. Even when progress was slow. Because he knew that progress always follows action. And hesitation always leads to regret. He would remind himself each morning. If I wait, nothing changes. If I act, everything can change. There will always be fear. There will always be uncertainty. There will always be reasons to delay. But success belongs to those who move anyway. Who show up anyway. Who decide that today is the day. Ethan walked out of the gym with sweat on his forehead and pride in his heart. He felt alive. He felt strong. He felt like his future was no longer hiding behind excuses. It was waiting for him to take it. He smiled and whispered to himself. Ready or not, I go. Because that was the secret that separated dreamers from doers. Those who begin win. Those who wait lose. And Ethan had finally chosen which one he would be. If this matches your vision, I will continue with Pushpin Part 4, The Pain of Progress. Part 4. The power of persistence. Have you ever noticed how close people come to success right before they quit? The moment they give up is often the very moment the breakthrough is about to arrive, yet because they cannot see it, they walk away from everything they worked for. That is why persistence is the greatest difference maker in life. It is the line that separates those who wish from those who win. Jack learned this truth in the hardest way possible. Jack was an average man with an extraordinary dream. He wanted to build a business that would change his life and allow him to provide a secure future for his family. He was not born wealthy. and he did not have the connections many others had, but he had belief and passion. That was his starting point. He rented a small workspace in a worn-out building and began creating a product he truly believed in. At first, everything felt exciting. People encouraged him. His family called him brave. His friends said they admired his courage. Jack woke up every morning filled with purpose because this dream made him feel alive. But dreams always look easier from a distance. When the real work begins, reality shows its sharp edges. Jack faced delays. Supplies did not arrive on time. He spent more money than he expected. Customers showed interest, but orders took longer to come. His excitement slowly turned into stress. The fire that once burned strong began to flicker. People around him started to change their tone. They stopped praising his ambition and began questioning it. Why not play it safe? Why risk so much? Why not get a normal job? Doubt came at him from every direction, and some of that doubt found its way into his own mind. Every night Jack lay awake staring at the ceiling, asking himself the same question: what if I fail? He thought about quitting many times. It would be easier to stop. He could return to the life he once knew, a safe life, a comfortable life, but deep down he knew that comfort was a cage. If he walked away now, he would spend the rest of his life wondering what might have been. Napoleon Hill once wrote, "A quitter never wins and a winner never quits." Those words spoke to the deepest part of Jack's heart. One morning as he sat in his silent workshop, he remembered why he started. He remembered the version of himself he wanted to become: someone bold, someone courageous, someone who did not run when things became difficult. So he made a decision: he would not quit. Instead of feeling sorry for himself, he doubled his efforts. He worked longer hours. He learned better ways to build his product. He reached out to more customers. He reminded himself every single day success grows from persistence. A year passed, and still no big breakthrough came. Yet Jack kept moving, one step at a time, one call at a time, one effort after another. He refused to let frustration break him. Then one day something happened. A customer who had purchased Jack's product months earlier recommended it to a big company. They loved it. They saw potential. They placed a massive order. That changed everything overnight. Jack's business exploded. Thousands of orders followed. His name spread all across the market. The very people who once doubted him now praised him as a visionary. Everyone called him lucky, but Jack knew the truth. His success was not luck, it was persistence. It was the result of every moment he chose to keep going when quitting felt easier. He realized something powerful: success does not come from talent or intelligence or perfect timing. It comes from consistency, from refusing to stop, from holding your dream tightly long enough for it to become real. Napoleon Hill wrote that every failure carries with it the seed of an equal or greater success. Most people never discover that seed because they walk away too soon. Jack almost did too, but his courage won the battle against his fear. You must learn from his story. Your path will not always be easy. You will face delays, disappointments, and painful moments where everything inside you wants to quit. Your mind will try to convince you that you are wasting your time, that you do not have what it takes, that you should settle for something smaller and safer. But if you hold on a little longer, if you push through that pressure, if you stay committed even when results are not visible, something incredible begins to unfold. The universe rewards those who refuse to give up. Persistence builds strength, persistence builds skill, persistence builds character, and those three qualities build success. Think about the greatness you admire in others: the athletes, the artists, the inventors, the leaders. Every one of them faced moments of doubt, but they chose persistence over surrender. That is why the world remembers them. If your dream matters to you, then protect it. Keep working, keep trying, keep believing, even when progress is slow, even when no one notices, even when the world says no. You keep saying yes. There will come a day when you look back at your struggle and whisper to yourself, "I am so glad I did not quit," because the story of success is always written in the ink of persistence. So let this be your truth. The journey may be long, the challenges may be heavy, the path may break your heart at times, but if you keep moving forward, nothing can stop you. Your dream is waiting on the other side of your persistence. Do not turn away now. The reward will be worth every step you fought to take. Winners are not the strongest or the smartest, they are the ones who do not stop. Part 5. The pain of progress. Have you ever wondered why most people never reach their dreams? It is not because they lack talent or ideas. It is because the moment the journey becomes painful, they stop, they turn around, they walk away from the discomfort that was meant to shape them into the person they needed to become. Progress always comes with pain. Success demands a price. You cannot rise without struggle, you cannot grow without challenge, and you cannot transform without discomfort. This is a lesson that Emily learned during the most difficult season of her life. Emily dreamed of becoming a marathon runner. She had admired those athletes since childhood, the way they pushed their bodies, the way they crossed the finish line with tears and triumph. She wanted that feeling. She wanted to prove to herself that she could do something powerful and extraordinary. One morning she woke up with a bold decision. She signed up for a race that would take place in 6 months. She was excited, full of motivation. And ready to change her life, she bought the best running shoes and created a training schedule. She imagined herself crossing that finish line. She felt unstoppable, but motivation is a beautiful liar. It feels strong at the beginning, but it fades as soon as the path becomes hard. The first week of training felt amazing. The air felt fresh, her energy was high. She ran with passion and hope, but by the third week her legs felt like they were made of bricks. Her chest burned, her back ached, her feet hurt. She woke up sore and tired every morning. Suddenly the dream did not feel exciting anymore. It felt painful, terrifying, bigger than she thought she could handle. Her mind began making excuses. You can skip today, you are not built for this, just quit before you embarrass yourself. Pain had entered the story, and pain always tests belief. Napoleon Hill said that every great achievement comes with the cost of discipline and sacrifice. Without them, success remains a wish, not a result. Emily was beginning to understand this truth. One cold morning she sat on the edge of her bed staring at her running shoes. They looked like two heavy rocks. She felt defeated. She wondered if maybe the dream was too much, maybe she should give up before the road took even more from her. Then she remembered why she started. She did not set this goal because it was easy. She chose it because she wanted to become stronger. She wanted to find out what she was truly capable of, and that meant facing the discomfort, not escaping it. So she stood up and tied her shoes. Her legs shook, but her spirit held firm. She whispered to herself, pain is part of the process. Then she walked outside and began to run again. Something interesting happened. The more she pushed through the pain, the stronger she became. Every mile she survived gave her confidence. Every difficult run built her courage. The pain did not disappear, but it became a teacher instead of an enemy. She learned that aches fade, but quitting leaves a scar. She realized that suffering with purpose builds power. She discovered that breaking down is often the first step to breaking through. There were days when she cried while running, days when she fell to her knees, days when the doubt felt heavier than the miles ahead, but she kept moving. Her steps were slow at times, but never stopped. Napoleon Hill wrote, strength and growth come only through effort and struggle. Emily kept those words in her heart. Her dream deserved the fight. Months passed, and the day of the marathon arrived. Thousands of runners gathered at the starting line, their faces full of energy, hope, and fear. Emily stood among them, breathing deeply. Her heart pounded. This was it. Everything she had endured, every painful moment had led her here. The beginning felt easy, just like the early days of training. The crowd cheered, the atmosphere was electric, but as the miles stretched further, the hardship returned. Her legs screamed, her lungs felt like fire, sweat dripped into her eyes. She wanted to stop, her mind fought back. Why do this to yourself? No one will care if you quit. This is too hard. Give up. But she had learned the most important lesson. Pain is temporary, quitting is forever. If she stopped now, everything she pushed through would be wasted. So she kept going, 1 mile at a time, 1 breath at a time, 1 determined step at a time. As she turned the corner and saw the finish line ahead, she felt her heart explode with emotion. That final stretch felt like the longest distance of her life, yet she moved forward with every ounce of strength she had left. People on the sidelines cheered her name, but she barely heard them. All she saw was that line, and what it meant. She pushed through the last few feet and collapsed into victory. Tears fell from her eyes. She did not cry because she was tired. She cried because she had proven to herself that she was stronger than every excuse, every doubt, every voice that tried to stop her. She had faced the pain and conquered it. Later that night, as she sat quietly with her medal around her neck, she understood something powerful. Success is not a comfortable journey. Progress hurts because it is transforming you into someone more capable, someone wiser, someone unstoppable. Napoleon Hill taught that pain is not punishment, pain is preparation. It is shaping you for the future you asked for. So the next time your dream begins to hurt, remember this: the struggle means growth, the discomfort means change, the pain means you are becoming everything you were meant to be. Those who avoid pain stay weak. Those who endure pain become warriors. Let the challenge mold you. Let the hardship strengthen you. Do not run from discomfort, run through it, because on the other side of pain is pride, confidence, and a version of yourself you will be proud to meet. Progress is not supposed to feel easy, it is supposed to feel worth it. Would you like me to send part 6 now, and would you like the final part to include a strong call to action just like your earlier requests? Part 6. The habit of consistency. There is a universal truth that decides the outcome of every dream. Winners are not the ones who run the fastest, winners are the ones who keep going the longest. Most people start with excitement, but only a few continue with consistency. That is why only a few succeed. Success is not created by one big action, it is built through small daily actions repeated again and again. The world sees the final moment, the celebration, the money, the applause, but they never see the mornings when motivation is gone. They never see the days filled with frustration, exhaustion, and silence. Consistency is the hidden engine of every great achievement. Mark learned this lesson through a promise he made to himself, a promise to become the kind of man who finishes what he starts. Mark had always been full of ideas. He talked about starting a business, about writing a book, about losing weight. He dreamed big, but he never stayed long enough to see Any dream become real, he would start strong. For a few days, then get busy, then he would stop. He convinced himself that he would start again, but he never did. One evening he looked in the mirror and felt a painful truth. He was the same person he had been 5 years ago. Nothing had changed, no dream completed, no progress made. He realized that wanting something means nothing if you do not work for it every day. Napoleon Hill once wrote that the successful person forms the habit of doing what failures do not like to do. Mark repeated those words as if his life depended on them. The next morning he woke up and began his new commitment. He would choose one goal and work on it every single day. No excuses, no skipping, no negotiation. His goal was to build his own online store. He had no experience and no certainty, but he had a promise. The first week felt exciting. He learned new things. He designed his store. He believed in his future. Then life tried to interfere, just like it always does. Friends invited him out. He received late-night calls. He felt tired after work. The temptation to skip was strong, but this time he refused to break the promise. He reminded himself that consistency builds the bridge to success. He worked even when he did not feel like it. He worked when he was tired. He worked when progress was slow. He worked in silence with only his dream watching. Days turned into weeks, weeks turned into months. His store began to grow. 1 customer, then 10, then 100. People loved what he created. Every small result fueled his determination. Then he hit a wall. Sales stopped increasing. His page visits slowed down. His excitement began fading. Once again the old version of Mark whispered, "Quit, it is not working, there is no point in trying so hard." But Mark had changed. He was not chasing motivation anymore. He was building discipline. He remembered Napoleon's teaching that persistence backed by consistency turns ordinary people into unstoppable forces. So Mark pushed forward. He read more. He improved his products. He found better ways to reach customers. He kept working every day without skipping, and slowly the results returned. His business took off stronger than before. Friends started asking, "What is your secret?" Mark smiled because the secret was simple. He kept going. Success came not because he was the smartest or the most talented. It came because he stayed on the path even when it felt endless. The habit of consistency became his superpower. Napoleon Hill believed that every time you show up for your dream, you are casting a vote for the future you want. Mark cast those votes every day until his life began to transform. His confidence grew, his income grew, and most importantly, his belief in himself grew. This is the truth that can change your life too. If you want results, you must show up every single day, even when you are tired, even when you are bored, even when no one notices, even when progress is slow, even when the dream feels far away. That is where champions are made. Consistency turns small steps into giant leaps. It turns effort into excellence and commitment into success. Ask yourself, what would your life look like if you refused to break your own promises? What could you achieve if you did a little work every day for a year? What dream could you bring to life if you kept going long after everyone else gave up? The world does not give rewards for good intentions. The world rewards follow through. It rewards the people who wake up and do the work day after day. Let this be your turning point. Let this be the moment where you decide to stay committed to your goal. Your progress might feel slow, but slow progress is still progress. Your small actions are building something big, even if you cannot see it yet. Napoleon Hill taught that the one who stays consistent will always outgrow the one who only works when they feel like it. Be that person. Stay on the path. Hold your vision. Keep the promise. Do not wait for perfect moments. Create them through consistency. Do not hope for change. Build it through daily action. Success is not a moment. Success is a habit, and that habit is in your hands right now. Your future self is watching, hoping you will not quit. Keep going, keep working, keep believing even when it hurts. One day you will look back and thank yourself for every step you refused to skip, because the greatest victories are earned one consistent day at a time. White heavy check mark. If you enjoyed this journey and want more unstoppable motivation, please subscribe, share, and comment your thoughts. Your support helps spread this message to others who need it.